our history. Buildings and people and memories and dreams. Who better to tell us than those who were there? There's so much to learn from the stories they'll share.
Living history. Living history.
Hello and welcome back to Living History with Ted Goldsboro. We're continuing our interview with Dr. Herman Giersch, who grew up in Bryn Mawr and was a music teacher in the Lower Merion School District for 40-some years, and a former pupil of his and a friend of both of ours and an auto car friend, Ed Minshall. So the three of us boys are here having a good time today, and we wanted you to join in with us. Herman, when we left off, you were teaching for 1 year at Kinwood School, and then what happened?
And then they opened the Kinwood Middle School, and fortunately, I think again that the Dr. Beats at the high school wanted me to go up to organize the instrumental music, especially in the junior high school, to help continue his group. See, and then we used to even I'd take the band up to the high school on a football game one time a year, and we'd do things with the high school band. So I think that was that he was thinking about that.
Okay, you help him and he helps you.
All right,
Yeah,
right. Oh,
yeah.
he made my life that way.
Herman ran the farm team.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You ran the farm team.
Yeah, training like in
Training
athletics. You
Yeah,
were
oh
training.
sure. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, right.
Now, Herman, when you were at Kinwood and you had a band, an orchestra, you had a student who had an accident with a car.
Well, when the first year we opened, 39 to 40, the boy who was really not only a good musician, a good trumpet player, but an excellent student. He was on the honor roll group, and a wonderful personality, so I made him the captain of the band. And so he served during the year wonderfully well. And then in the fall, we went to the high school. And one Saturday morning, my mother said to me at breakfast, "Herman," looking at the newspaper, "I think this is an article about your George." His name was George Scott. And I read it. Oh my goodness, George Scott, who was a high school student, had been hit on City Line near Kinwood area, and hit by a car, and he had broke his leg, and he had injuries over his body, and he was in Bryn Mawr Hospital. So I said, "Mother, I have to get out and see George." So I went down to see George, and true, he was getting good help. He was in bed, of course, but his spirits were good. And across the bed from me was his family. And I saw that sister.
What was her name?
I didn't know her name at that time.
Okay. But you later found out that it was
Edith. Her name was Edith.
Edith Scott.
Edith Scott. And
had she gone to Lower Merion?
Oh yes, she graduated from Lower Merion in 1939.
Okay, so a bit younger than you.
Just a little bit younger,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was just taken by that right away.
And so eventually you...
Oh well, what happened was that we went on a. Well, what I do is kept on going back to see George, you know.
Hoping you'd see the sister.
George.
And,
oh yeah, George. I'm sorry.
Yeah, see George. And I was dating with her then, and one night they lived at. Her father was the supervisor at Episcopal Academy, and they had one of the house on Episcopal Academy grounds, and after we sat out in the car necking a little bit, I took her in the house, and she had 5 steps which went up to the front porch. And as she walked up those 5 steps, I said, I have to take you home.
Oh.
To her?
Well, I said, oh, sure. She was the
Yeah.
only one there.
Yeah.
I have to take you home.
Oh.
And so we became engaged, and then
Was this around 1941?
this was 41, right?
Okay.
Yes, yeah. And then we became engaged, and I think it was in November of 41.
Ooh.
And right after that,
Pearl Harbor. Right
Yeah.
after that, Pearl
It
Harbor.
was Pearl Harbor, and then because of that, I guess I was taken into the Army. And,
You were drafted?
drafted in the Army, yeah, and went down to Fort Belvoir in Virginia, and we decided to get married before I went overseas, that kind of thing. See?
Right.
So we got married there's a story to that too. Do you want me to tell you that?
Well, I think we better not do that.
No.
So this is the wedding picture.
Wedding picture,
Oh,
March
yeah.
14th, 1942.
Okay.
Gosh.
And this is the boy.
Yeah, this is the boy, right?
Boy.
This is Herman.
Yeah.
In,
I was still a private, you know.
Okay. In
at
training
Belvoir, yeah.
at Belvoir.
Belvoir,
Okay.
yeah.
And then where did you go after Belvoir?
I went to several places. Well, I think I went to Hattiesburg. And,
Mississippi.
Mississippi, yeah. I'm trying to think now. I was in Mississippi first or Louisiana. Anyhow, I think I was sent to the 177th Engineers Band. That's what it was. I was playing saxophone, and they sent me to the band down there, and I was in the band in the 177th Engineers, and then I had made out a form to go to the Army Music School, and so I wanted to become a leader, and so I think the 177th Engineers went off to Alaska, I think it was, and so they sent me down to Hattiesburg, and I was in several groups moving around, 85th Division, something else, but nevertheless, one of those times, and I played in the band there too, 85th, and I met one of my boys there too. A fellow who was going to be eventually in my band at the Rainbow Division.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was getting to the...
Well, now, meanwhile, Edith's at home. You're engaged.
Oh, yes.
Are
yes.
you married by then?
Well, March 15th, yeah. March 14th, we were married.
42. Right.
And it was after that that I went south.
About how long were you at Beauvoir?
Belvoir?
Belvoir.
Oh,
3 months?
I was going to say less than 6. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you have a couple of pictures here. They were during the war.
Yeah.
This is the bagpipe.
Yeah.
Where was that?
This was United States, but our general was so crazy about bagpipes that he got a couple, and then you won't believe it, I had to go through the whole division, 10,000 guys who could play the bagpipe. Only 2 could play it. So I put them in the band.
Wow.
Put them in the band, and they were in charge of the bagpipe corps. And when some of the band fellows realized that the general loved the bagpipes, they joined the bagpipe corps.
Okay.
And
had you ever played the bagpipes yourself?
No, never. No.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
So that's a bagpipe.
Okay, she had a bagpipe. And where was that? What part of the world were you in?
This was still in the United States, I'm sure.
Okay.
Because we paraded with it when we have a division parade, and we have to go past the officers and so on. Our band would come first, of course, the division band, then the bagpipe corps. Then he had a bugle and drum corps after that, and then after that a big flag corps.
Wow.
50 guys, 50 men carrying the flag. See, he was they called him Hollywood Harry. he was such a man like that.
Now, Herman, eventually, didn't you end up in Austria?
Yes.
Okay.
Vienna. Our division, and of course the band was there. Our division was in Salzburg, but they sent us to Vienna at the beginning for the dedication or something of the, like, Russia, England, France, the United States,
right,
coming in and taking care of Austria at Vienna.
Okay.
So that's why we were there at Vienna for a while.
Didn't you go to some Mozartatorium or something Mozart?
Well, then when we finished there, we were in Salzburg after that, and I studied at the Mozarteum.
Oh, Mozarteum.
It was terrific.
Oh, thank you.
Mozarteum, I studied piano.
Was that a school?
What's that?
Was that a school?
Music school.
Music school.
Music school.
But you were in the Army. How could you be going to
well,
music?
What they did, as soon as the war was over almost, as soon as the war was over, the Army, I guess all the Navy too, got things to do for the guys, baseball games.
Keep them busy.
Keep them busy, that's right. Classes, school, so you could go to other places too.
I see.
So that was very fortunate. So I studied piano and harmony.
Okay.
But
okay. Now, meanwhile, you're writing to Edith. She's at home.
Oh yes.
What is she doing? Does she have a job?
Yes. She first out of high school, she had a job as an assistant to a dentist up in New York, who was a relative of hers.
Oh.
So she worked up there for a while, and then I don't know how she came back, but she worked for Wanamaker's, I think.
Oh.
She was worked for Wanamaker's
in Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And so I think that's all she did until we were married. And I guess she continued that a little after we were married.
Okay. Now, we're running up against the time again. We got to take a little break here, but we'll be right back. We're talking to Herman Giersch and Ed Minshall.